Well, hello and welcome to a very special Southbound and NFL podcast live reaction broadcast. So we are here tonight. As you can see, Quacker and I are both decked out in our black and gold because obviously, as we've said all season, the premise of this show is we are two depressed Saints fans talking about the NFL. But we're not depressed tonight because there are two fairly big things that could happen, and I'm just going to be honest. We will announce as they announce winners. We'll announce some of the other winners. We're not going to announce them all though because I'll go ahead and I'm not going to bury the lead. The two awards that we're here for are Offensive Rookie of the Year, which admittedly we know that. We feel that Tyler Shuck is a long shot, but he's there. So we're excited about that. I don't think a year ago any of us thought that was possible. And then the big one is, will arguably one of the best quarterbacks of all time be a first ballot Hall of Famer? And hopefully that's a no-brainer that it's yes. And, of course, we're talking about Drew Brees, as you can see on Quacker's hat, number 9, the GOAT. But you never know.
It's also on the hat.
What's that? Well, I know. I was going to get you in just a second.
Yeah.
In just a second, I was going to get you to show everybody. But what I was going to say was that it should be a no-brainer. However, with Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick not getting in, I guess you never know. I have my own thoughts about Bill Belichick, not as a person, but I think when you only win Super Bowls with one quarterback, then that quarterback wins Super Bowls without you. I think that changes things. However, I will say that it has not been without controversy this year. So, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna kind of spend this time talking about our love of the Saints, what we're excited about. And full disclosure, because this is live, and Quacker and I, it'll be hard for us to be on for 2 hours straight. We are going to stick with you until at least Offensive Rookie of the Year is announced, and once that's announced, then we're gonna talk about the career of Drew Brees. We're gonna talk about his career stats, his career records, where he stands in the record books. And then Quacker and I each have our top 3 Brees moments, and we have not told each other what they are. They could be exactly the same. They could be all different. Well, I know one of them won't be different. Every Saints fan in the world will have that one on there. But at any rate, we are excited to be here. Quack, any opening thoughts before we start, kind of diving into everything?
This is something that, as Saints fans, we've been waiting for 5 years now, for Drew Brees getting in.
Well, really, we've been waiting for 15 because it was pretty clear a few years in to New Orleans that it was going to happen. So
yeah, but
I'd
since
say
he's
by
retired,
2013, I think you're probably pretty certain at that point. But I do get your point. I take your point.
yeah. In the irony of him waiting the extra year to retire, I've always said I've always loved Drew Brees, but I felt like he should retire the year before he did, because if he had, Tom Brady would have come to the Saints, and the Buccaneers run would have never happened, and the Saints would have at least one more Super Bowl. So
yeah, well, that's a good point. So I've thought about that in passing, and obviously what Quacker's referring to is Tom Brady said when he was looking for a new team away from New England, he said that he was waiting to see what Drew Brees was going to do, because that's where he wanted to be if Drew Brees left. So that's, I don't know how many people outside of New Orleans are like readily available with that stat in their brain, but obviously that's a point of pride for us as Saints fans, and also what could have been. And I agree with you. Quacker knows this. If you listen to our show regularly, you know this. I hate I almost said the 49ers. I hate the Buccaneers more than any team in the NFC South, which I'm the only Saints fan who can say that. But so yeah, that would have been a net positive all the way around. I do think he retired a year too late. However, as we will see later, what he did in 3 less seasons than Tom Brady is going to blow some people's minds. So, because we're going to talk about some of those stats. But anyway, other thoughts about,
especially bouncing back from the injury he bounced back from, because Tom had that knee injury, but everybody bounces back from ACLs at this point. It's just a matter of when. But from that shoulder injury he had, where if a couple of things go a different way, the Dolphins doctors clear him. He never comes to New Orleans. Nick Saban never goes to Alabama. There's a lot of things that could have, a lot of things that could have changed had the doctors just been, I'm glad they weren't. At least as a Saints fan.
Yeah.
As a college football fan, I don't know how I feel about it, but
but that's a good point though too, because and a lot of people forget, while it was obviously the most famous team that passed on him because of doctor clearance was Miami, but all of the teams that were realistically in the market for Breeze, because not all of them were, whether they had an established quarterback or they couldn't afford it or whatever, of the teams that were interested, the only team that cleared him medically were the Saints. And Nick Saban lobbied hard for the doctors to clear him so they could sign him, but he didn't get his way. And he's talked about that, quite a bit, about how, kind of what Quacker just said, the what if. But yeah, that's a good point. Would have changed both leagues drastically.
Yeah.
And we probably wouldn't be admitting publicly that we're Saints fans. Although,
yeah,
we already had Peyton, so I don't know that I can say that, because he probably would have found somebody somewhere that would have been his guy.
Yeah, but the talent that Drew Brees was, that I saw it in college. I was a fan of his back when he was at Purdue. When he went to the Bolts, the Chargers, I was like, well, I can't pull for him anymore because I can't stand the Chargers. I've never liked him, but I was hoping he would have a good career, but I was like, I just can't pull for him now. And when he came to Saints, it's like, oh, this is destiny, baby. So,
yeah, I was a little different. I really liked him in college. I thought he was a really good quarterback, and I also thought, like, if you can be good at Purdue, that's pretty impressive. Little did I know he was going to basically be the last really great quarterback at Purdue. I mean, maybe that's a little hyperbolic, but it's close. But I remember thinking, wasn't thinking it was destiny. I was thinking, because we had just come off of Aaron Brooks, and then the Billy Joe squared. Yes, we had two Billy Joe or Billy Joe. I don't know, two Billy Joes. So I just remember thinking, hey, we got a solid quarterback. I wasn't thinking, oh, this is going to be what it wound up being.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you are a Saints fan, and if you're a longtime NFL fan, you remember when Sean Payton and Drew Brees, Marquise Colston, when they truly announced their presence to the league. Because Quacker knows this far better than me, because I didn't hardly get anything from this storm. But the year before, the Saints had to play their home games in Baton Rouge because the city was devastated, and the whole area, Mississippi and Louisiana, was devastated from Hurricane Katrina. And then that offseason, they let go of Hazlitt, got Peyton, got Breeze, and I think it was the third week of the season, the reopening of the Superdome on Monday Night Football. Steve Gleason, who now has ALS, blocks a punt in the dome. Dome goes nuts, and they beat the Falcons on Monday Night Football. Obviously went on to the NFC Championship that game and lost to the Bears. But that game, that Monday Night Football game was. I think it was a seminal moment in all Saints fans' lives. You know, that was the
Yeah.
I think that was the first shot fired across the bow where everybody was like, "Oh dang!" Like maybe the Saints won't suck. I don't know that anybody was thinking they're going to be great moving forward, but they're like, maybe the Saints will be like, not like the Browns every year, like they were for many years before that.
Right. They just announced Defensive Player of the Year, and I don't guess this is a shock to anybody. Myles Garrett. Um, I mean, I think there should be an asterisk beside it because it's an extra game, but he broke the sack record there. So, um,
Yeah, well, obviously, he's deserving for sure. And look, Cleveland
mm-hmm.
hasn't had much to be happy about recently, so you gotta give it to him.
Yeah.
You gotta let him have
Yeah.
this,
He's showing his Texas roots right now. I mean, he's got his cowboy hat on and everything. So
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool, man. When I first saw it, I thought Von Miller, and I was like, wait, Von Miller did. I mean, he played this year, but he wasn't like dominant. And now I realized it was Garrett. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Another A&M guy there.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, now again, we're not to our top 3 Breeze moments, but other memories from the Peyton Breeze, that 2006 to 2020 era.
Yeah, this is not my top moments, but I got to go to a game with our uncle. I got to sit in a suite. And they were playing the Rams. It was the season that we lost to the Rams in that. I don't think you can call it controversial. In that just blatant no call in the championship game. It was the same season. The Saints won the regular season game. That's the first time I ever sat in a suite like that. It was really really cool. But if you're ever into a game with your uncle, he doesn't like to sit still. He likes to go around and visit and stuff like that. And he was kind of taking me and our aunt kind of all over the place. So I was like, man, I'm missing so much of this game that I would rather just be sitting. Yeah, that's one thing about like those seats. If you've been in the dome, the seats aren't all that comfortable. But those suites, like those seats are like plush leather seats. Man, it was really nice sitting in those. I've still got my ticket and the lanyard and stuff that came with it because it was such a special, ticket and special moment and all that stuff. But that was one of those things like that's one of those I'll always remember that.
All right, hold on one second. We're going to come back to that in just a minute, but they are announcing Offensive Rookie of the Year right now. So let's see what we got. Let's see if Shuck can pull it out of the hat. So this is cool. If you're not watching right now, apparently they've got the mothers of each of the candidates on stage to make a brief statement. So we'll kind of listen to this, and if you're watching, be silent so you can speak. Okay, apparently it's not just mothers, but females. First was a mother, second was a wife. Okay, I'm completely wrong. It's not all females. It's just people that love them. Jackson Dart looks like he's in the mob.
You got an offer you can't refuse. I don't know what you're saying. I don't have the volume on, but is this really necessary? Can we just announce it and go on?
Well, so I didn't realize this was happening. I think it's pretty special. I've got the volume kind of up, and it's just it's important people in their lives, and I think it's kind of cool. All right, here we go.
All right, you're a little ahead of me here.
All right. So as we expected, I think mostly McMillan from Carolina wins the award. Um, I think realistically we knew Shuck wasn't gonna probably win it because it was such a late season surge. But I wonder if they'll eventually release the voting because I'm pretty confident that he finished second. I don't know that for fact, but just based on what the betting odds were and everything else. I'd be curious to see that. So, congratulations, though.
He did win the fan vote though. That the Pepsi Rookie of the Year that was fan vote. So he did win that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and that's like I don't want to diminish that at all, but obviously the kind of the flagship offensive rookie of the year is or rookie of the year award in general is the AP. So that's like that's like winning the Maxwell versus the Heisman. I feel like they're both great, but congratulations to McMillan. I mean, he definitely had a great year. And look, man, I think I speak for every New Orleans fan when I say the fact that he was even a finalist, the way the season started and how late he came in, I think, dude, good on you, man. He basically played half a season.
Yeah.
And I think he went 4-3. I don't know exactly what his record was because he played one second half, and I don't know who they gave that win to. But got better every week, and so.
Yeah, you could
Cool
definitely see him getting better and better and better as the season went along, and the more he was in there and the more reps he got, you could just tell, like, if they allow him and Moore to stay together, this is going to be a special tandem.
Yeah.
I think the Saints have something here, but
Yeah.
he has to stay healthy too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, what's cool is he's not the passer that Drew Brees is. Obviously, he's not the runner that Taysom Hill is. But what I thought was interesting was he showed improvement as a passer each week, and he showed that same grit and athleticism and toughness that Taysom Hill did when Taysom Hill was in, and that's cool for me because I always loved the whole Brees Hill combo. Bringing Hill on short yardage.
Yeah.
Whatever, but obviously you never knew if he was going to drop back and pass the ball because he was a threat in that too. In fact, I think it was the 2020 season, or maybe it was the 19 season, when the Saints played the Vikings in the wild card round and they lost in overtime. Brees was really struggling in that game, and Taysom Hill is the reason we got to overtime in that game. And if I remember correctly, he might have thrown the touchdown pass in overtime. I'm not sure, but so my point is this: that it is cool to see a quarterback who is probably not as good as either one of those at their respective things, but possesses both of those really cool abilities that we as Saints fans have become accustomed to.
Yeah. Yeah, it may surprise us with his passing ability because you are seeing him get better and better every week. I mean, he
Right.
went from being a rookie with no starts at all and really no time other than preseason, with live game action to what he did by the end of the season, where the last game of the season, he almost dragged the Saints to win with like no healthy receivers to throw to. You know, the defense is beat up, the offensive line was beat up, and he still almost willed them to a win in that game. Which
and the Saints had four one-score losses. To put it in perspective, it doesn't matter now. If they win 2 of those, they're in the playoffs, albeit probably out in the first round because they're in a bad division right now. But so it's all good, and you're right. He got better each week. And I don't know if I can remember any, maybe Peyton Manning, but I think I kind of feel like he struggled a little bit. I know Tom Brady, when he first came in, was good enough to retain the starting position, but he wasn't lighting the world on fire. I don't know of any quarterback who had an outstanding rookie year and then just continued that their entire career. I know Mahomes and Jackson have both had good rookie years, but they were starters. I think they were both starters the whole season. And all you can ask for a rookie is to get better, like you said, to get better every game, and I feel like we saw that. So,
well, you could say Andrew Luck, because he had an amazing first season. And then,
I always forget about him because he retired after 5 minutes. But he was definitely, there's no question, he was good when he was in the league. He had retire or die. I mean, I hate to say it like that. But the Saints, I mean, not the Saints, the Colts at that time, they weren't investing in an offensive line to protect him, and he had so many injuries. I mean, what really kind of ended his career was that lacerated kidney, and he was just like, I can't keep doing this. Right.
So. And now he's back involved with football now. With I think he's Stanford. Like the general manager of of Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of those great what ifs. He
would have been a Hall of Famer for sure if he was able to play out his career. Because you're right, he was good from start to finish, and everyone thought he was going to be good. He was a high draft pick. He was good, but I think he retired after what? 7 or 8 seasons. It wasn't long.
Did he even make it 7? I thought he only made it 5.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I
just remember.
I didn't think he'd made it.
I remember the whole world being shocked that he was retiring. Other than the fact that he had the Greg Oden disease. When he got drafted as a rookie, he looked like he was 40. So if you're just looking at him, you're not shocked. But you're shocked, like, wait, he's been in the league for like an hour. So.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, he's one of those Robert Griffin III for the same class. Both of those guys retired early, both because of injury. That's another one of those.
And now Robert Griffin III, you wonder, he won Rookie of the Year, right? I kind of think he did.
Did he? I thought that Andrew Luck did because
he took the same year.
Well, they both went to the playoffs. Yeah. Yeah, Luck was 1, he was 2, and Griffin was 2.
Okay. Well, I thought Griffin won it, but I'm sure you're right. I don't really remember. But you're right. They were both really great in their rookie seasons. Now, I think one of the differences is as Griffin's injuries piled up, his performance declined, which you do see some. I think a good comp right now, you're going to love this, Quacker, to Andrew Luck is Joe Burrow. Because his performance hasn't declined at all, but he's hurt a lot. To the point to where, in a couple of years, he's probably going to have to answer some serious questions for himself about whether he wants to stay in the league or not. And it's not because of his performance, every time he comes back from an injury.
Line's getting killed.
Well, every time he comes back from an injury, he's just as good as he was before. He just can't stay healthy. But
that's another one of those things where you wonder why these organizations, they spend all this money on this high draft pick at their position, and that they don't invest the capital they should to keep him healthy. Because he showed you what he can do in a fully healthy season, because they've had one good offensive line, and it wasn't great, it was just good, and he took them within a hair's whisper of being a Super Bowl champion. it took a miracle drive by the Rams to win that game, and he still almost took them back down there at the end. If it wasn't for um what was that defensive lineman for him, Aaron Donald.
Mm.
If it wasn't for Aaron Donald just taking over that last two plays, he may take them down the score there. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's no question he was he. What was that? His second year?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just an amazing story. And I think, did Andy Dalton take the Bengals to a Super Bowl loss, or did he make it to the AFC Championship?
Dalton.
Or
No,
maybe it was
the
just
last
the divisional round, but I know that he like Andy Dalton was the last quarterback at Cincinnati before Burrow who had any measure of success that was more than like a year. And
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
they went to the playoffs a handful of times, but I thought they went to the AFC Championship or Super Bowl, but I could be wrong.
No, the last Super Bowl they went to outside of Burrow was back in the '80s
Okay.
when they lost to the 49ers.
Well, maybe they just had good teams, but never made it to the conference championship or Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're going to, in just a minute, we're going to start talking about the career highlights of Drew Brees. But before we do that, they're about to announce Protector of the Year. So Andrew Whitworth and Jason Kelsey are up there. So let's see who wins that, and then we'll.
The dichotomy of those two, like one's in a tuxedo, the other one's in like jeans and a t-shirt with a zip-up jacket. I mean,
But it totally fits their style.
I love Witt, man. I absolutely love Witt. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite.
All right, Joe Tunney is your 2025 Protector of the Year. Congratulations, Mr. Tunney. All right, so we
Kelsey
got
looks so much different since he's gotten out of the league. Like his weight loss is incredible.
well.
Like, I mean, he was never like a huge guy, but now, he's just you would never think offensive lineman looking at him
well,
other than a big beard.
same thing with Whitworth. Whitworth has slimmed up a ton too. Um, all right, we're about to start talking about the highlights of Drew Brees. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So, all right. So first, when I say to you, Quacker, when I say to you, Drew Brees, just give me like one or two sentences that come to your mind.
The most accurate passer that the league has ever seen. Grit, right? I mean, like he wasn't super tall, right? He's what 6 foot, 6'1" at the
5'11".
most.
No, I think he was 5'11". I think he was listed at 6 feet, but it was a pretty commonly known fact that he was really 5'11".
Right. So, I mean, just a gritty player. He came back from that terrible injury and had a Hall of Fame career. After that injury. In the last season he played, he could barely get the ball downfield, but he still took the Saints to the NFC Championship game. So, or maybe that was divisional round. I think that may have been divisional round, but regardless, I mean, he just continued to plug away, and
Which year are you talking about?
2020.
Oh, right.
His last year, yeah, last year in the league.
Yeah, it was the divisional round because I remember thinking, "Oh, hey, we got this game in the bag," and then we didn't.
Yeah,
But such is life.
yeah, But yeah, that's what I think of. I mean, just exceptional leader. Um, his pregame speeches are legendary. I mean, his pregame speeches are Hall of Fame. Because it gets everybody fired up. So, um, yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Drew Brees.
Yeah. So for me, when I think of Drew Brees, I think of the epitome of overcoming odds. And not that he was like, I think everybody thought he was going to be a good quarterback, but he wasn't the prototypical NFL type quarterback size wise or anything like that. Had some injuries, had to throw over people. CMC just won Comeback Player of the Year. So congratulations, Mr. McCaffrey. Um, so
Hey, he ought to win more than that with the way he dragged the 49ers to the playoffs like he did. I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah.
By the end, he was the only weapon they had on the field.
Only player required. Okay, 1 second. All right. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to do a couple of different things while we're getting prepped. I'm not ignoring you all. By the way, hey there, McCaffrey. So thank you for the comment. Also, congratulations to your cousin for winning the award. Um, all right, 1 second. Quacker, if you don't have to, but if you have anything to say, you can. I'm trying to do one thing real quick that I think everybody will appreciate, but I need just a second.
Yeah, it is. You say you got a little sound on. Is Bijan Robinson? Is he DJing? Is I see he's up in like this booth with like headphones on. Looks kind of like he's DJing up there, which is really cool if he is.
There is a DJ, 100%. Don't know if it's him though, because I haven't been paying attention.
It's got to be because he's got the headphones on and all. That's really cool. I mean, you know, NFL star running back by day and DJ by night. I mean, he's got a second career all lined up already. High school coach of the year. I didn't know they honored high school coaches.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to do something that Quacker has no idea I'm about to do. I've been working on this for a little bit. So, I want to welcome. Hold on 1 second. Where did I go? I went away. All right. There we go. I want to welcome our aunt to the show. Aunt Denise, can you hear us? Oh, hold on. There we go.
Hey,
All right, Aunt Denise, can you hear us?
I can hear y'all.
All right,
Hey,
you are live with your two favorite nephews on the alumni, or not alumni house, on the Southbound podcast, and we are here tonight to talk about the Saints and Drew Brees. So we are just about to talk about his career stats and achievements, but if you don't, I don't want to put you on the spot, but thank you first of all for joining us. And I know I didn't tell Quacker about this. I didn't want him to want it to be a surprise. So,
it's great to be here.
yeah. So if you can give everybody just a brief summary of the history of your Saints fandom, the ups, the downs, and then maybe what you feel like Drew Brees did for the city and the people of New Orleans.
Oh goodness! So I became a Saints fan back when Archie Manning first came aboard. He came to East Macomb ballpark, and that's where I got to go play. And as a young kid, I got to see. I got to. He was there for March of Dimes. And then I don't know. I thought he was a hippie. He had long hair, but I stayed involved with him probably partly because of my brother. Went to the dome when they wore bags on their head. You could pay for a nosebleed and sit on the front row. It was crazy. But when Drew got there, naturally it excited me. I hoped he was an underdog. They didn't expect him to ever come back, and he came back to the Saints. So naturally, him as well as Sean Payton, he was kind of being put down as a coach. So together they just made a dream team, and it was so exciting to watch how the Saints escalated under both of them, him as a quarterback and Sean as a coach. So still a Saints fan, still get aggravated, but still love them, and I think I always will.
Yeah, I remember my my mom and dad talking to me about when they were in seminary and they would go to games. I think with Uncle Danny and Aunt Linda when the Saints first, they'd not been around long. And for those of you who don't remember this, and Quacker and I were not around, but you may remember this, Aunt Denise, but there was a large contingent of people who thought the Saints would never win because of their name, right? I remember that being.
Oh, without question.
Yeah, people were really upset about that.
Yeah, yeah, they were, and you are correct. And I think that's what between that and Katrina, I think that's when Sean did his bury all the voodoo against the Saints. But you are correct. It was always they would never win because of the name.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you because this is super last minute. Last thing I want to ask you, and then I'll see if Quacker has any questions. Do you, off the top of your head, do you have any top moments, Drew Brees moments that you remember watching? All the good ones.
Only when he got us. Only when he got us. Yeah, the good ones, but mostly when he got us to the Super Bowl. That game was just. It'll be there forever.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, I still get chills watching that.
Yeah.
All right, Quacker, do you have anything for Aunt Nisi before we let her go?
No, that was about the same stuff I would have asked right there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
just so everyone knows, Aunt Nisi is Chad's mom's younger sister and my dad's younger sister. So that's the relation there. So, and spent lots of years in the city. So, well,
That's
Aunt
right.
Nisi, thank you so much for joining us. This was special, and we're glad we got to share it with you.
Thank y'all for inviting me.
All right. Bye.
Love y'all.
Love you too. Bye.
Love you.
Bye bye. Love you. Bye bye. Turn it off.
All right, there we go. So that was cool. So this was a last minute thing. I texted Quacker a few hours ago and was like, hey, we should do this. Then I was like, hey, come up with these things for, gave him a bunch of homework like last minute. And then I'm like, oh, I should invite some family members on. And Aunt Nisi was gracious enough to jump on. So, all right. They're about to announce Coach of the Year, but first we're going to go through a couple of things because we are coming up on it. We are probably about 18 minutes away from the announcement. So I'm going to go through some career stats and some all-time records, and then Quacker and I will go through our top 3 Brees moments. So this is the career stats of one Drew Brees. So in 20 seasons, 15 with New Orleans, he played 287 games, threw 10,551 passes, completed 7,142 of those, a career completion percentage of 67.7. He had 80,358 yards in his career, with a career average attempt of 7.6. 571 touchdowns, 243 interceptions, and his rating was 98.7. Now, all-time records. Where does Drew Brees stand among every quarterback to play the game? Well, here we go. Total career yards, he is second. Tom Brady has 89,214, which is about 9,000-ish more, but he had 3 more seasons. So, and don't forget, Drew Brees had 5, or maybe more. He had at least 5,000-yard seasons, which is more than anybody. I don't think anybody's ever had more than 1 in their career. So, gotta wonder if he would have been number 1 on that. But, it is what it is. So, you can't argue the fact that Brady played till he's 45. So, I mean, I feel like that's pretty good.
Right.
All right. So, career completions, second all time. 7,142, 500-ish less than Brady in 3 less seasons. Career touchdowns, 571, 78 less than Brady, second all time. So if you're keeping track, he's second in all 3 of those categories. Yards per game, career, 280 per game. Second all time. You know who first is?
You would almost have to say just Brady, but I want to say Manning. Peyton Manning.
It's Patrick Mahomes. And here's why this vindicates Drew Brees even more. Patrick Mahomes has about 5.2 more yards. So he's averaging about 285.2 more than Brees. Brees played 20 seasons. Patrick Mahomes is coming up on what is 8th, 9th, something like that. So obviously larger sample size. That's pretty impressive. So right now he's second all time in average, and that's one of those stats he could actually become first, retroactively.
Right.
Career completion percentage, third all time, 67.7%. 1 and 2 in career completion percentage have played only 5 years, and I can't remember who they are, but both of them have played 5 years. So again, that could change dramatically. And then the last one, and then we'll announce the Coach of the Year winner before we do our top 3 Brees moments. Fourth quarter comebacks. Drew Brees is 6th all time with 36. Tom Brady is first with 46. So out of the stats I just read, career yardage, career completion, touchdowns, yards per game, completion percentage, and fourth quarter comebacks, he ranks second, third, and 6th. Yet for some reason, this man is never really seriously talked about as one of the top 3 greatest ever. I don't get
right.
it. But
when he retired, he was first in a lot of those categories.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Brady had to catch up
because
to him.
Brady just kept playing.
And by the way, when he retired, he had played less seasons at that moment. So because Brady was either 1 or 2 years ahead of him, so he had less time on the field, in time elapsed, and he was still first in those categories. So, look, that's not taking anything away from Brady. Brady won 7 Super Bowls with 2 different teams. One of those teams was a dumpster fire before he got there, and basically, was it his first or second? It was first year, right? Took him to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, all credit to Brady. All right. So, the 2025 AP Coach of the Year is Quacker.
Mike Vrabel.
That's a Vrabel.
Good choice. That's a really good choice.
It is a good choice. I mean, I think it had to be him or Liam Cohen, but I love that. What I love is that we remember Vrabel playing for the Patriots, and now for him to win Coach of the Year and be about to be playing in the Super Bowl is pretty cool. So
they said he could be the first person to play for to win a Super Bowl as both a player and a coach for the same franchise, which would be really awesome. And how
many did he win with them? Was it 2 or 3? Because he was in that
3.
first wave. Okay, I didn't know if he was with them for that whole time. All right. Okay. So I'm not sure what they're about to announce. Let me see what they're about to announce, and then we'll move into our top 3 Breeze moments because we're getting
Best hair in the
getting
league. They
closer.
just showed.
Wait, is that
As far as coaches,
is that real? Are you joking or is
Mike. I mean, no, Sean McVay. I think he's got the best hair in the league as a coach.
that, oh, you're saying he does, or they just gave him an award for it?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like that, I think he's got the best hair.
Oh,
like,
okay,
Just,
okay.
I don't know
got
what
you.
he uses styler with because he won't tell anybody. Because like they are like even in a downpour, like his hair it doesn't move. I don't know what he does.
Fair enough.
And he's like, I'm not telling.
Okay, so this looks like flag players of the year. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna let you tell me your number 3 and give me a brief description as to why. I'll tell you my number 3, and we'll kind of pace it out. If we get through them all before they announce the Hall of Fame class, then great. If we don't, we'll take a pause. All right. Again, this is Quacker and I's respective top 3 Drew Brees moments. These are subjective lists, so if you don't agree, that's fine, because they're not your list; they're our lists. All right. Quacker, number 3, and why?
All right, now I've actually got 4, but one is not just a moment. It's
just
and I'll explain when we get to it.
One job.
That's all right.
I'm just joking.
All right. So number 3 for me is the spinning touchdown against the Falcons on September 23rd, 2018 in a 43-37 overtime win. And everybody's seen this clip by now, but he's anybody who watched Drew Brees knew he was not a runner. But he didn't have a passing option. He took off and he got hit and spun and he got to the end zone and jumped in and scored the touchdown. And they still show it all the time, like on like whatever broadcast. If it's a Saints game, especially a Saints Falcons game, they're going to show it at least 3 times. And it's one of my all-time favorite. Like, I mean, of course it helped to win the game, but it's one of those moments where you just like, that was such a cool, just a cool moment to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially because he wasn't a runner.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was like Michael Vick out there.
Yeah, I mean, he was like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. I think he looked a little more natural when he ran, but I think he felt about as comfortable as those guys did running. Right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
To me, that's when those guys ran. It was kind of the equivalent of Tim Duncan taking a 3, which he did a handful of times in big moments. But
yeah.
All right. So my number 3, and I actually set out for this to be a different game, but then as I was trying to look up some of the stats from this game, I realized there was another better game that I'd forgotten about. So November 1st, 2015 versus the New York Giants. Drew Brees threw for his second highest career game total, 505 yards, 39 of 50. That's a 78% completion percentage, 10.1 average attempt, 7 touchdowns, 2 INTs, and a 131.7. And if you didn't know, I think it's 158.2 or something is perfect. So
right
for QBR. So that's my number 3, because 505 yards and 7 touchdowns is ridiculous. And especially
they had to have every one of them.
Yeah. And they did, because they won the game 52-49. But what's even crazier is he threw for 505 yards on 39 completions. 50 attempts, but you only get yards on completions.
Yeah.
So 39 completions.
Yeah.
So and just
that was against Eli.
It was. Just so you know, my number 3 was gonna be and I'm sure you remember this, the 2005 or 2000. I don't remember what years. It was 9 or 5. I don't know why it wasn't 5 because he wasn't there. Might have been 6, but it was mid 2000s against the Bengals. When in the Dome, Drew Brees threw for 510 yards and they lost the game. It was the craziest game I've ever seen. But as I was researching that, I was like, oh, wait, I forgot about the Giants game, which was way better. Because I think he was four touchdowns, 3 picks in that game, and they lost. So,
Right.
All right. So before we get to your number 2, I wanted to circle back to something. So yeah, so I got the opportunity to sit in the suite with our uncle a number of years back as well, and that was definitely a very cool moment. It was against the Jaguars, and I'm pretty sure the Saints won the game. It's been 19 years, so I can't remember, but yeah. So yeah, that was very cool. I just wanted to circle back to that because of the because of what you had said earlier. All right, so let's see what they're coming into right now. Oh, looks like Walter Payton. Okay, so this is they're gonna announce the Man of the Year award here in just a moment, and that one is obviously one that Quacker and I care about because it's an unsung award that matters a lot. But before we do that, Quacker, what is your number 2 Drew Brees moment?
All right, number 2 is the 80-yard touchdown pass to C.J. Spiller on the second play of overtime to beat the Cowboys 26-20 on October 4th, 2015. I couldn't remember right in there. But I mean that was one of those, like, I will never forget that play. It was I forgot who it was against. I had to look it up, but it was just like a seam route basically where C.J. Spiller slipped out of the backfield, and my best friend was actually at that game, and because it was like I think it was like a Sunday night or Monday night game, and yeah, he was talking to me like afterwards. He's like, "Dude, it was crazy. I can't believe I got to be here for it." But I remember going crazy.
I think that was a Sunday night game, because do you remember that stretch of years? There were like 4 or 5 straight years where, for whatever reason, they put the Saints Cowboys on Sunday night, and then because the Saints had like a crazy streak of Monday night and Sunday night consecutive wins that was broken. I think that later that year against the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. That was the year the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. But yeah, so I think it was a Sunday night, but only because I think that was during that odd stretch where we got, the random streak of Sunday night Cowboys matchups. That was back when they gave the Saints Sunday night games. We haven't had one in 2 years because we're not good enough, but hopefully we'll get back on there soon.
Yeah. Well, they might next year. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But that's my moment.
Okay, cool. I like it. So, and I also appreciate that I vaguely remember year 2, but I love that I don't really remember year 2, because that illustrates to me how many special moments there were in the career of Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is going to surprise a lot of people. My number 2 is February the 2nd, 2010, in Miami Gardens, Florida, when the Saints defeated the Indianapolis Colts 31-17 and won their first and to date only Super Bowl. And my dad, who, he was a big sports fan. Like, he loved all sports, but he was a big Saints fan, and he, as the Saints were going through that run that year, he said, we lived in Florida, and he said if the Saints make it to the Super Bowl, we're gonna have a Cajun Super Bowl party. And we did, and we had a ton of people there. I think my dad, I don't know if he made it or bought it, but I'm 100% sure that we had boudin there. And I remember being in a living room with all of those people when Tracy Porter intercepted Peyton Manning, ran it back for a touchdown to take the lead that the Saints would never give up. And that's really a Saints moment, but it illustrates what a good leader in Sean Payton, what a good leader in Drew Brees, what poise, determination, and audacity. For those of you who don't remember, they opened the second half of the Super Bowl with a surprise onside kick that they recovered.
Yeah.
So that's my number 2. I mean, that's a moment. I still watch that game probably once a year, or at least the fourth quarter. And every time I at least get chills, but a lot of the times I tear up a little bit. It's just a special moment. Not just for me, but for what it meant for all of the Saints fans and for all of the people that I can't relate to who actually went through something devastating in New Orleans or in the surrounding areas, who got to have that moment too, you know. So yeah, that's
I was in New Orleans that weekend for Mardi Gras, and it was absolutely, it was freezing down there that weekend, and it was absolutely crazy. It was a party on every corner you went to. It was all, just hoot at everywhere you went. It was insane. Like, I've never seen an atmosphere like that. Never experienced an atmosphere like that.
I don't know why this never even really occurred to me, at least not that I can remember. But I forgot it was that close to Mardi Gras, like within like a week or so. So what do you think the
it was that week? Because
Mardi Gras was middle February.
When the way it fell that year, it was like the when they had the championship parade, like that next night.
Oh,
like the next day was Mardi Gras, was Fat Tuesday. Just the way it fell that year.
Huh. I didn't realize that it was ever that. So Mardi Gras was February 16th. They won it on February 2nd. So it might have been when they had the parade, because normally that's a little ways after. But regardless, here's what I was gonna say. I wonder what New Orleans PD is thinking, right? Like, leading into the Super Bowl, because obviously the Super Bowl's in Miami, but as with any big city, when their team's in the Super Bowl, there are people everywhere watching the game. And you can look it up on YouTube. There are iconic videos of the streets, like Bourbon Street and the surrounding area, just full of people after that game.
Yeah.
What do you think the police of New Orleans were thinking when they're like, what are we gonna do if the Saints win the Super Bowl right before Mardi Gras? I feel like that probably added some gray hairs and took some years off some of those police officers' lives.
I'm sure they were trying to share it in some daiquiris and some beers with the fans. I mean,
maybe
they're fans too, you know.
Well, they are, yeah, but I'm thinking they're like calling in Baton Rouge and Jackson and all the every city nearby. Be like, we need your help. Come help us. So, all right. So I'll leave this up to you. Do you want to do your not moment, or do you want to do your number one moment and then your overall moment?
I'll do my not moment
Okay.
because it kind of ties into what you were just kind of talking about there. So, Matt, I want to read you off the list of quarterbacks that the Saints and Drew Brees beat in their run to the Super Bowl. Start out in the division round against the Arizona Cardinals, who were quarterbacked by, do you remember who?
Yeah, it was Kurt Warner.
Right. So the Kurt Warner, Hall of Famer. The next round, NFC Championship game, they played the Minnesota Vikings, quarterbacked by
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Another Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Southern Miss guy. To the top, baby. In the Super Bowl, played the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. So he beat 3 Hall of Famers on the way to winning that first and only Super Bowl. You think about that run that they made there, man. That's just incredible. I mean, that's 3 Hall of Famers they beat to win the championship. That's a heck of a road that it took to get there.
Yeah, and
they came in cold.
Yeah, and
because they lost the last 3 games of the season.
They did, but I remember that year because we did our family Christmas at your house, and you and I were talking, and either that day they had already lost to the Bucs, which was their first, or Dallas or whoever it was their first loss of the season. But we were talking, and we were kind of like, well, it doesn't matter because they're already the number 1 seed. So they did come in cold by losing their last 3 and then having to bye. But they were so good that year because they started the season 13-0 that they locked up the number 1 seed. Then they lost that next game and still didn't have to play their starters in the next 2 games.
Right.
So, yeah, but and this this kind of goes hand in hand, but not completely. 3 Hall of Famers, 3 Super Bowl champions. All 3 of those guys have won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Well, Peyton's won 2, but yeah. So no, that's I like that. That's really, really good. And so I approve.
And they all played in multiple Super Bowls. Because Kurt played with the Rams.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking, wait, Drew Brees didn't, but I see what you're saying. All of the opponents. Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
So what? Peyton played in? Did he play in 3 or did he just play in 2? No, yeah, he did play in 3.
Played
he
4.
Lost to the Saints. Who was the other one he lost?
He
beat the Bears.
The first one, the Seahawks.
Did they play the Seahawks 2 years in a row?
No, they beat the Panthers for that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I get those 2 years mixed up in my head. But okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so we are getting ever closer. We're just a couple of minutes away now. So Quacker, go ahead and give us your all-time number 1 Drew Brees moment.
Drew Brees passing Peyton Manning for most touchdown passes thrown, throwing his 540th against the Indianapolis Colts, December 16th of 2019, in a 34-7 win. I thought that was really appropriate that the team that Peyton Manning is most famous for playing for and threw the majority of his touchdown passes with is the team the Saints were playing when Drew passed him up.
Yeah. So that's an incredible moment. They've got Tracy Morgan and Seth Rollins out here with some girl to announce. That's such a weird combination. Hold on, let's see what they're about to announce.
Tracy Morgan's new show is terrible, by the way.
I haven't seen it. The only show I've ever liked of his was 30 Rock, which is an incredible show. If you haven't watched it, you should. All right, so while they're setting this up, yeah, I totally agree with you that that's a perfect moment. My moment goes hand in hand with that. And for a minute, I thought you were going to steal my thunder, but you didn't. My number 1 moment is October the 8th of 2018 versus the Washington Redskins in the Dome on Monday Night Football. Early in the second quarter, midway through the second quarter, Drew Brees threw a 62-yard touchdown pass, to a wide-open Traquan Smith to pass Peyton Manning for the most career yards. And if you grew up when Chad and I did, you remember how big of a deal it was when Peyton Manning passed Marino. And so then for Brees to do that to Manning and to do it on Monday Night Football and everything else was just such a cool moment. But that's not why I chose this moment. I chose this moment specifically because of what happened afterwards. And if you have not watched the video, you can watch the whole 6.5 minute video on YouTube. Drew Brees threw the touchdown. The Dome went crazy. They had all the boards lit up that he's the all-time passing yards leader. The referee grabbed the ball, handed it to Drew Brees, who took it over to the Hall of Fame commissioner, and who had the white gloves on, handed it to him. And then his family, Drew Brees' family, was down there. And he had a real young daughter who his wife was holding. He kissed the 2 girls. Then he leaned down, and you can hear the audio on national television. In one of the greatest moments of his life, he leaned down to his 2 boys and said something to the effect of, "This is what it's all about. You can do anything you put your mind to. Isn't this so cool?" or something like that. And I'll never forget that moment because I was thinking, dude, that's a guy who loves his kids and wants the best for his kids, because in one of the best moments of his life, his first thought was, let me impress how big of a deal this is for your lives, So that's why that's my number 1 and not the Super Bowl. But yeah, that was definitely a big one. And look at that. It's perfect timing. We are getting there. They got Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner out here right now to tell us which of the 15 finalists, and they will select 4 to 8 who will make it into the Hall of Fame in August. So if you guys just bear with us, we're going to kind of go silent, listen to this for a second. We may make some comments here and there, but we're Saints fans, so we also want to enjoy this. Yeah, so they're just announcing the finalists right now, and first is Larry Fitzgerald, who in my opinion is a shoe-in. He should absolutely be in tonight. Definitely.
I thought he shaved his head at first.
No, you can't.
I was like, oh no.
All right, Luke Kuechly. Dude, I'm getting so excited. I've been waiting for this. Like you said, I've been waiting for this for so many years.
That's incredible that Kuechly made it with only 8 years. I mean, he was really dominant when he was playing. But
yeah, but he's a linebacker. I mean, his shelf life's not as long as some of the other positions.
Well,
Adam
concussions
Vinatieri
did him in.
Yeah, Adam Vinatieri. I think he's a shoe-in, but I think because he's a kicker, I don't know if he gets in this time.
No, these are the ones who they're in. These aren't the finalists. These are.
I thought this was the. I thought I'm sorry. I thought these were the finalists. Well, forget everything I just said, folks. All right, so that's 4. You can have a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 8. I apologize. I thought they were just calling out the the finalists. Here we go.
I've got his football card. Roger Craig.
All right, as it should be. 2 of the guys I thought for sure had to get in this time were Fitzgerald and Breeze. Just the 5 of them. Wow, man. How cool.
Yeah. I was a little behind you there.
Oh, I apologize. Well, I don't think I spoiled much. I feel like you felt the same way I did. He was going to get in regardless.
Yeah. 3 of those I'm not shocked about at all. I didn't realize Vinatieri wasn't already in the Hall of Fame. Because to me he was one of those that should have been first or second time through. Just because of how good he was and what he meant to both the Patriots and to the Colts.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's no question he's probably top 3 kickers of all time. I think the reality is, even if you're a top 3 kicker, I don't know that you get first ballot necessarily. I think it depends on, or not first ballot, but you may have to wait a few years depending on your class. I didn't mean to say first ballot, but yeah, I definitely agree that he deserves to be in. No question about that. Cool. Well, all right. So listen. Final thoughts, Quacker, before we wrap up this reaction show.
Me and you were talking before the show. This is one of those moments for Saints fans. We don't have a lot of them. I can remember, and it's funny because it was when the Saints won the Super Bowl, like the day before. They used to do it on Saturday. They would announce it on the Saturdays, on the Saturday before the Super Bowl, like who was going into the Hall of Fame, and Ricky Jackson went in. And if you're too young to remember who Ricky Jackson is, he was one of the greatest linebackers, one of the greatest linebackers who's ever played for the Saints. Um, in my opinion, I think Demario Davis has probably passed him at this point. But it was Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills. Back when they had the Dome Patrol, and so him going in was a huge deal because he was like the first Saints Hall of Famer. You think about the fact that Archie Mann is not even the Hall of Fame, and what he's meant to the Saints, and the fact that he's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where you're just like,
No, I was just all I was gonna say to that is, he is Archie Manning. He hasn't been like a huge adversary, but he's been publicly critical of both the Heisman voters and the Hall of Fame for kind of snubbing the Mannings. Obviously, Peyton didn't get snubbed, but Eli just did because he was in this class.
Yeah.
Well, I say snubbed. I don't know that I necessarily thought Eli was first ballot. I think he's Fringe Hall of Fame to begin with. However, that may add a little bit of fuel to the fire because he did win 2 Super Bowls, one of which against an undefeated Tom Brady led Patriots team with Randy Moss. So yeah. Well, man, so cool. Obviously,
was one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history.
Yes, go watch that.
David Tyree.
Yeah, the helmet catch. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So look, like I said, the two guys that I thought absolutely, if you didn't put them in, the committee was drunk, but were Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees, and they bookended the inductee announcement. So congratulations to all 5 of them. That's awesome. But obviously we're pumped about number 9. So all right. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining us for this very rare reaction episode of the NFL honors and the announcement of the 2026 Hall of Fame inductees. We will see you guys soon. We're not exactly sure. We'll probably do a season wrap up after the Super Bowl, which, if you haven't been keeping track, is Sunday. We will be with you guys again before too long. But until then, we have been Southbound Quacker. I'm Matt. You guys have a great night. Who dat?